Attack position is a myth, at least the way that you've been taught.
I'm David Davidson, and I'm here to bring you the same name twice, to double bust the myth about body position so that you're going to be so incredibly strategically advanced on the trail. All your riding buddies are going to be so impressed that they're going to send their kids over to your house to get tutored in math and physics, kind of like your kids are at my house right now getting tutored in math and physics. And yes, this is the same wife, same kids, I actually sold the minivan for like very little depreciation, so I'll see you at the dealership at 400,000 more miles because we got a Toyota Highlander. It's pretty exciting. So when you're at the dealership, you're going to have at least 3 myths busted about these body positions that you never had busted before, and they're going to be so busted that you're just going to be fired up. It's going to be great. I'll see you at the dealership, and you're going to be equipped with the body positions that were only written about in the ancient hieroglyphics. They were found by the government, but they hid them because they're too advanced for regular citizens. But you're not one of those because you're on this channel and you've got these insights to give you the highest level of riding in 2024. Let's do it.
Okay, so these are the 3... I can't even do that with my hand. These are the 3 myths of attack position and how to ride instead. Listen, I'm making this video because there's a lot of experts, branded experts, and well-meaning riding buddies who share tips about the attack position, the boss position, the low position, the ready position, the attack position, all of it. They're sharing this with you because they mean well. The reason why you haven't been riding at the level that you want to, and the reason you're stuck on a plateau, is just because maybe you haven't explained it thoroughly in a way that has helped before. And we've dealt with this a lot before, so that's why I'm making this video to help you out. Let's dive in. But myth number one is get low. Okay, get low is good advice. The problem with just getting low is that getting low is actually a static position, and we miss out on all the benefits of what we can do when we move dynamically. So it's not just that we need to get low, it's that we actually need to have a couple things added to that. So let's prove that right now. Locking yourself in a high up or tall position, what it does is it exposes you to the forces of the trail. Now, the benefit of this is that you can be, it's very easy and relaxing. You're just standing. It takes almost no energy to do this, but ultimately, you don't really have stability. So when a coach tells you or a YouTuber tells you to get low, this is what they're giving you. They're giving you the gift of stability. Now, the problem with just getting low and locking yourself into this position, as you can see here, is that you actually still have the same costs of standing up very high. When you lock yourself in a low position, you end up getting pushed around by the trail. Up forces go up to your body, downward forces pull you down, and you just kind of become one with the bike, but in the wrong way. It's just like telling someone to get low. It's so easy to say, it's so easy to coach, and it gives you so much stability that it'll take you from a raw beginner to like a pretty decent mountain biker actually without a whole lot of effort. So it's very easy coaching advice, but it's not always what you really need to hear. So let's go a little deeper. I'll show you why. Now, the real downside to just getting low, and this is something that actually sneaks up on a lot of riders, is when your quads start burning, when your arms are getting tired, when you are getting tired. You feel like you're fighting the bike because you are. Like you're literally fighting the bike. You're fighting against gravity, and it's no fun. And ultimately, this just isn't any good time. So what I want to do is kind of rescue from this first myth and give you something else instead. Here's what you need to do instead. Stop trying to be so perfect on the bike. What we need to do instead of being in just a low position, we just need to put our torso where we need it to go. It's that simple. So if the trail goes from being flat to it starts moving up, just put your torso higher before you get there. And some people will try to teach you to pump, but it's really this. It's as simple as like, okay, if you're riding down the trail and the trail's about to go up, you just need to move your torso up a little bit. And what this does is it's called anticipation. Anticipation gives you the ability to make adjustments on the fly. And the cool part about moving your torso where it's about to need to be is that a lot of times you'll find yourself standing up tall when you need to be tall and being low when you can be low. And this modulation or this change of height really gives you not just an attack position, but a flow position, which is a whole lot more fun. So the main myth here, again, we're busting is just low isn't bad. It's just that a static low doesn't give you the benefit of riding your bike up and down the trail. And that's what the trail does. It's up and down. Does this make sense? Is this different from anything you've maybe heard before? Is this helpful? Let me know. Attack position myth number 2, get your elbows out. I think this one is kind of obvious. If you were to go and look at all kinds of mountain bikers, let's look here. Here's some clips from the Snowshoe Mountain Bike World Cup. Here's some clips from Luca Shaw doing some stuff last weekend up in North Carolina in my hometown. Here's some riders who are just shredding some downhill. None of them have perfect 90-degree elbows. Everyone just looks comfortable. So here's where I'm going to go against the grain and just say that I don't think it's great advice. And the reason why is because there's almost nothing in life where you need to do a 90-degree elbow out, elbows high. Elbows high isn't anatomically strong. Elbows here, this is anatomically strong. Now, have you ever watched someone who doesn't know how to throw a punch, what they look like? They kind of go like this. And have you ever watched someone who's a strong puncher? They're here, and right before they're about to throw the punch, elbows are right here. What does this look like? Looks like a downhill rider. The reason why we need to go anatomic benefit first is because not everyone's bodies are the same. I did another video on this, I'll put the link up here, where I talked about fitting your bike to your body. My elbows touch if I hold them out straight. This is called a valgus deformity. This is an actual thing, like the way my body is shaped. If I put my elbows out, it actually rolls my shoulders forward, and this is just bad. Like if I try to do a push-up right here, it actually hurts. It's bad for me. So if I were to listen to the advice of get your elbows perfectly out 90 degrees, I would be anatomically in a weak position that would hurt my shoulders. Now, here's the crazy thing for the 9 women who are watching this. Valgus deformity of the arms, it's not really a deformity, it's just the way you're made. If this is you, like the 3 of you that are watching this channel, if you extend your arms and your elbows touch, then you may not find that elbows perfectly at 90 degrees helps you. You may find that by rolling them back to where your scapula feel comfortable might even be better. So here's what we want to do instead. Number 1 is I want you to watch riders that are better than you and try to model them. Pick a rider that looks like you. I look like Luca Shaw. I look like Greg Gnar because I'm 6'3", and I'm a big, tall guy. So I just copy those guys. The second thing you can do is if you're a short person or a mid-sized person, just copy someone that looks like you that's a pro and experiment with elbow position. Which one gives you the strongest feeling? Which one locks you in the best? Now, here's another drill you can actually do. You can do what's called a still elbow push-up. This is where you do a push-up and ultimately you hold your hands and your elbows in a way where the elbows never really move and the body does. That's probably the closest feeling that you'll feel to being in the correct body position on the bike. Try to replicate that when you're riding from the push-up. It can help you a ton. All right, moving on to myth number 3 about the attack position, and that is that we need to be extremely hinged at the hips, and it's just not entirely true. So if you are going down an extremely steep downhill, you want to match your upper body's hinge to the steepness of the downhill relative to the ground. What you'll find if you look at a lot of professional riders, though, is you'll see that their bodies are just kind of in a very neutral position a lot of times, and they do a lot of hinging at the hips, but only on extremely steep downhills. What they've done is they've perfected their attack position to really benefit them. So what I find a lot of riders, the biggest mistake I see them do is that they over-exaggerate the hinge and they over-straighten the legs. Or what they do is they sink their hips too far down and have their chest too far up, one or the other. And they kind of stay in this position and rock back and forth as the trail goes up and down. What you need to do is you need to find a position that's about in the middle of these two, where your legs are comfortable, where you can extend the legs down when the trail needs to be pumped, and you can pick your legs up whenever something comes up at you. So this neutral position allows you to be the counterweight. In other words, your torso is still, and it allows your legs to be bent up and down. And the second thing that's very, very important is once you've gotten the correct torso angle for the steepness, the torso needs to be pointed down if you're going down extremely steep things. The torso needs to be level if you're going on a mild downhill, and the torso can be, somewhat more upright for a flatter trail. Once you've gotten the correct torso position picked for the steepness of the trail, it needs to be angled down so that you can move your arms, okay? The single most important mistake that I see riders doing is that they are too far back on the downhills, and they're not able to extend their arms anymore, and so the bike falls away from them and they end up going over the bars. The single best thing you can do is pick a very neutral position for your hips. In other words, you've got room to drop your hips down. You've got room to extend your legs away from you as the trail goes away from you. And then your torso is bent over or hinged in a way where you're in the middle of your range of motion for your arms. Now, obviously, if you're anticipating the trail going down very quickly, you want to go and tuck in and you want to kiss that stem. Then you can extend your arms. So this is called anticipation. Anticipation is just moving your torso where it's about to need to be, kind of like we talked about in myth number 1. So this whole attack position, can you see that it's not a position at all? It's actually a dynamic movement we need to have a lot of practice with. So the main drill that I would actually encourage you to do, it starts like this. Step number 1, ride a trail, stay too low the entire time. Bend your knees too much, bend your ankles too much, get your torso as low as possible, and stay there. See how it feels. Step number 2, stand up too tall with your legs too rigid, your back too straight, and your arms too extended. See how it feels. What do you notice? Next, switch between the two. Pick the tall one, pick the low one. Pick the high one, pick the low one, and switch between the two. By the way, what this is doing, it's showing you how much energy it takes to do these positions, and you're also going to feel, oh my gosh, this is where I get stability, and this is where I kind of get energy savings. Okay. Next, number 3 is I want you to do it smoothly. So instead of just switching high and low, pick some ranges of motion and choose between those based on what you just learned. This will teach you how to choose a finer position that's more appropriate for each part of the trail. The next step, what we want to do is we want to start moving our torso where it needs to be before we get there, okay? So finally, this drill will allow us to ride the same piece of trail and anticipate any kind of bump or rock or root, and ultimately you're going to feel like your arms and legs are doing more work, but it's less effort. Now, finally, what we want to do is we want to find a very chunky, very gnarly, very rooty section of trail, and I want you to send it down as fast as possible and combine everything. And the way I want you to think about it is just put your torso where it needs to go and use your arms only first to anticipate where the front wheel needs to go. And the reason why is because the back wheel will follow if you've chosen that nice neutral position. All right. Let me know how this drill helped. What did you notice that was different? What did you find out from doing this drill? Was it something you were able to gain anything from? If you like this, we're on a mission to help 10,000 mountain bikers shred with confidence. And if that's you, subscribe to the channel right now. You're part of it. You're one of us. Let's go and help a lot of other people. Share this with a friend or a rider, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.